Hello and welcome to Lion City Rock X Big O 4O. Yes, this is a special edition of Lion City Rock. We are doing this to celebrate Big O, the magazine that was prevalent throughout the 80s and 90s, which talked a lot about alternative music, independent music, underground music, all kinds of music lah. You name it, they would have had it.
It's all you
And
need. It's
yeah,
all you
man, it,
need.
it was all it's all you need. It was all we had. Let alone all we need. Uh, but yeah, Big O
Yeah.
is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year, and
Yeah. Amazing.
there's a cool event that they have called Big O 40 Years of Counterculture. Yeah, and it's a celebration of
Mm.
everything that Big O stands for, lah. Yeah, in terms of celebrating the music, not just generally, but music of Singapore in particular. A lot of
Yeah.
local bands were the magazine was like the Bible, right? For a lot of us, for
Oh
a lot of
yeah.
local bands.
No doubt. No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah. And they are celebrating this with a cool event on the 12th and 13th of April, starting from
Mm.
12 p.m. onwards on both days. It's a 2 day kind of festival. You're gonna get all kinds of cool stuff happening, and it's gonna be held at the Blackbird at Gilman Barracks. Yeah, so
Yeah. It's going to be a
the,
blast.
yeah, man. Speaking of blast, I mean, like the bands performing are is gonna be quite interesting to check out. There's the Mother, there's Obstacle
Mm.
Upsurge, there's Force Vomit,
Mm.
Great Spy Experiment,
Yeah.
In Sunset, Disco
OP.
Kid, OP, yeah, Opposition Party, Astrial, of course, Odd Fellows,
Yeah.
and
Odd
Rudra, the
Fellows.
Pinholes,
Yeah.
and of course, the
Wow.
band that we're going to be talking to tonight in this series of interviews that we're doing. It's I like to call it a super group because there's so many different guys from from everywhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
the band is called what's the band called? What's the band called, Kevin?
TypeWriter. I think I managed them for a little while. So I
Yes,
better know the name. Yeah.
yeah, you better, man. Otherwise, gonna take already. Yes, typewriter, and we've got the lead singer and guitarist tonight, Chang Kang. Say hello, Chang Kang.
Hello, Nada.
Woo-hoo.
Hello,
Yeah.
Chris. Hello, Kevin. Yeah.
Hello, hello. How are you?
Hello, hello. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yellow.
So, I mean, we're gonna just quiz you a little bit about you, yourself, your music, and you know what Big O means to you. Because I think right
Yep.
from the start, I mean, typewriter itself, you have this distinct, melodic. I think a lot of people call it indie rock sound, right? But was
Mm.
that the actual vision that you had when you wanted to start typewriter?
Actually, I think we started TypeWriter towards, I think, around year 2000. So it's
Mm.
as good as 25 years ago today, we formed
Yeah,
TypeWriter.
yeah.
That's quite a long time. Even longer,
Yeah.
even longer than my previous band, The Ordinary People. So the friendship that me and Patrick Chung from Oddfellas have goes back a bit more longer than that, and that's when typewriter when Ordinary People, the other members went off their own ways, right? I decided to form Typewriter with Patrick, who is now my guitarist in the band. Yeah, so that's a good 25 years ago with Typewriter now. Yeah.
Wow, that's some kind of legacy, man.
Mm. And if you're
Yep.
talking about what kind of genre, this melodic indie rock, I think it describes what we do, right? In the broad strokes, because what turned us on, right? There are a few key bands. Um, Definitely, we are influenced by the Beatles. Uh,
Yeah.
and at that time, I think we had Big Star, of course,
Mm.
REM,
Yep.
the Replacements, Neil Young, and later on, a bit more crunch. You have Weezer, and not lately. I mean, in the past 15 years, I think one big cornerstone for us will be Wilco. So we like
Yeah.
that whole indie rock sound. I mean, for better or worse, it could be like Americana / power pop, but I think indie rock fits the whole game lah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. I mean, when you were coming out with Ordinary People,
Mm,
I remember you guys being featured in Big O at that
mm.
a couple of
Mm.
times at least
Yep.
for your album and all that as well. But you know how did it impact maybe for yourself, like how did Big O actually impact you as a musician on your music journey?
Well, kudos to Big O, right? I think it has made a huge impact for me. Even as a person, is the independent spirit, the indie spirit, right? Is strong in me. Is part and parcel of me. Um, I mean, I stumbled upon Big O when I was like 15 years old. 15 years old, a good time for getting music influences and whatever what have nots you have, it influenced my music taste, my way of independent thinking, the way I express myself. Um, till today, I think there's no question about it. I mean, I'm
Wow.
deeply grateful for stumbling upon Big O, right? Um,
Stumbling upon that, like how do you find it? Like
I'm
you
stumbling
just
upon because one thing leads to another. I mean, I don't know. I can't. It's too long a time really, so I can't remember whether if discovering the demo cassettes came first at the shops, or maybe buying Big O at the shops. Uh, yeah, but definitely I would think that I even bought a few copies before the one that is professionally printed with big Chris Ho on the cover. So it went back a few issues before that lah, if I'm not wrong. One thing I like to add is I mean, with indie rock or rock music, right? One important thing that I think we all share is to question the status quo. I think that's very important. A very important element that I feel very precious when I stumble upon Big O. Right, that spirit is very important to be always questioning what is right and what is wrong, what is fair. To have that, I think is a good character trait to have, in my opinion, in my humble opinion.
I mean, Kevin, I think you can also attest to this, but at that point in time, right, being in a so-called indie band, um, presented a certain number of challenges, right? Uh, and I don't know,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
for you for yourself, like what you maybe Changkang also you can share what are the biggest challenges for an indie band
You
at
know,
that time?
I personally, right, I never really saw it as a challenging time at all. Seriously, I don't find it challenging at all. I actually, in fact, right, because um, independent or indie rock music then was not as accessible as now, right? It makes you even want to go out and find out more. It was a lot of fun discovering something that through Big O and whatever limited readings that you have back then, and it's so charming, so enticing, like that none of your classmates know about this thing. So it makes the discovery very special. A lot more than today. Today, I think uh, it's the sign of the times, but it's with internet and everything, right? You with a search of a few buttons, right? It's so easy to find. Oh, indie rock. What is indie rock? Everything is defined for you, right? So maybe it makes it a lot less precious,
Oh,
right?
okay.
And maybe that's why we look back at Big O after 40 years, right? We look back at it with so much more pride and fondness. Right? If it was so easily available, I don't think we will bother about how special it was, Big O. Yeah.
Because it was kind of exclusive lah. right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It's so exclusive.
Yeah.
I think in a class, I mean, 1/100 or 1/200, 1/200 people will know about it. I think. Yeah,
A shared
not,
secret.
not a joke, lah. I think so. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, a shared secret. Yeah, I like that. I like that, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you get a chance to really see to go down to a big old organized gig, at the substation or where anywhere else, right? Then you get to see like-minded people coming together, right? At that point, right, it was not so niche. So I mean, it's not so like segregated. So you got different kind of bands playing together, and that's where you discovered, oh, you have punk friends, you have hardcore friends, who till today are still my friends, right? Probably I'll see them uh, on the gig itself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I mean, let's talk a bit about the evolution itself of. I mean, your band Typewriter is going to play at the big old gig on April the 12th. So maybe you could talk a bit about the your band itself, Typewriter. I mean, like, what I'm gonna this is a question that always puts people on the spot, lah. What do you think sets apart Typewriter from the other indie bands of that era?
Okay. Okay. At that point, of course, I would think that typewriter honestly typewriter came at a point when Big O was stopping their print, right? So I think for me to be playing in this gig is more of my previous bands dropping uh, uh coming together with the other people and everything, and that was a legacy prior to this, and also Pat with Oddfellas. So I can't say that we were there. uh I don't, maybe once or twice, maybe we'll feature in Big O, but it was before because of the other people and what came before, right? um so if you're talking about the ordinary people, right, at that point, I think most bands in the early to in the late 90s, sorry, most bands in the late 80s to early 90s in Singapore, most of them, I think they were much more influenced by UK bands. Um, shoegaze with pagans, and then you have um, grunge. Grunge is US. Okay, that came a bit later. Then you have UK bands like playing Stone Roses kind of music. Oh, um, what sets what we play apart, right? I think it's actually quite easy uh, to define because um, what we were playing there between me and Pat, right? We have a connection, common interest in what was termed US college rock, right? The US college rock bands like REM, Replacement,
Mm.
and slightly later Lemonheads, Sugar,
Alt rock lah.
yeah, Matthew
Alt rock.
Sweet, right? All these
Mm.
were the kind of bands that most of between me and Pat we connected with that, you see. So that's why uh, we are still playing today as a band. The music lingo is shared with those bands. So a lot more US bands, I feel. Yeah. Then I honestly don't think there were many uh, in broad strokes. I don't think there were many bands who champion that kind of music back then. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, and that kind of music that you mentioned, it's very prevalent in your debut
Yeah.
album, and
But you know
and
why? You know why? Because I only got one thing to say, lah. Because it seems like at that point, right, US kind of music was not as cool, visually cool, right? It's like very roots rock, jingle jangle, earnest, being so that was not cool. Being in a band, it was more impressionable to have the front, the coolness, and I think a lot of UK bands front that has that image, yeah. But I was more, we were more, uh, we were more impressed, inspired by the words and the melodies that came out, and thus we are doing the same exact thing now. Yeah.
That's true. I mean, speaking about doing, I mean, being influenced and all that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously on your album, Indian Head Massage. I mean, to me lah, I find traces of the REM. I find traces of replacements, a whole bunch of that. And I think we are talking before. I was very thankful that I got a chance to perform with you guys to launch that album. Um, but what's more impressive about the album is other people they release a debut album, right? It's just like, okay, here's a collection of like 10 songs or whatever. These guys come up with like two. It's a double. It's a double album set. Like, so maybe you can talk a bit about like I mean, were there so many, how many songs were there all together? Like, what was it like putting that album together?
So the album was released in 2010, right? 2010. And as I mentioned just now, right, the band started in year 2000. So it's a good decade of songs that we accumulated and recorded for 10 years, before we put the first album out. So in that lifetime of that 10 years, we already had about 3 lineup changes with guys going into the army, bass guitarist changing, drummer changing, right? Um, yeah, I mean, inevitable. I mean, look at Fleetwood Mac, right? How many lineup changes, right? But yeah, so a good 10 years of songs. We chose the one that were newer and fresher to us. We put it on the album proper. We call it Indian Head Massage, right? And then the other kind of like rarities, B sides, or whatever, I think they were too good to be thrown away. After all, we spent time crafting those as well. So I suggested to the band, if this is Indian Head Massage, can we have another CD called Extra Service? So it's yeah lah, in tandem lah. Yeah.
And that I think that album itself, all these songs, that means you recorded them throughout the whole all those years, and you
Yeah.
just compiled them for this one.
No, there's definitely a bunch where it was more. The one on Indian Head Massage was definitely geared more towards the end when the
Ah,
album was released. Maybe within 2 years, 2008,
okay.
2009, the kind, And the earlier ones, I didn't want to throw away. So we all agreed that, hey, we could put it into extra service. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, speaking of that, like since you guys have been around since, like you said, 25 years. This is your 25th anniversary year. You've seen the scene. I mean, for yourself, personally, right? You've been through even further than that, right? Because you started in the 90s. Uh, so you've seen the whole scene shift around. What do you think it has grown or shrunk since you guys got together? I mean, maybe since Indian Head Massage, because that was when everybody kind of.
I feel that the scene has definitely grown because I still go to gigs, right, as and when I can. And it's very heartening to see a lot more fans singing to the band's songs uh, now than before. Previously, when bands when the fans or the friends go and check out bands, right, at gigs, right, we will all be very discerning. Most of them will be very discerning and just stand back and look cool, right? No matter how good the band is, right, it's very reserved, like the audience. But these days, I think when they really support and like the band, it's very heartening to see them really singing, uh,
Mm.
doing stage dive, whatever, to the bands they like, right? Just a couple of days ago, I went to my third, fourth time watching CB Dogs. It's nice to see the fans there, right? Definitely a lot more vibrant. But that said, I feel compared to say big old days, right? Big O, Big O will always be kind of associated with the substation. So at that point, right, you really have like a hodgepodge of different bands coming together, different genres, we can ordinary people can be playing folk rock, jingle jangle, and next thing you have punk or you have some hardcore bands. So what does that do? That makes the audience a lot more open-minded or slash close-minded. But you get to uh, sample different kinds of music whether you like it or not, and we get to appreciate in the years to come, right? I also start appreciating hardcore. I I appreciate punk, but my potpourri is my radar is bigger because of that range. But these days, um, we we get information from Instagram posts, social media, so you will only it's like a echo chamber lah. The same bands you can't watch the same bands. Another band will watch another same band. So it's a lot more vibrant, but it's not a collective memory. I feel you don't get that
Right.
collective memory of a space of substation where you look fondly. That's the reason why Big O, as I said again, Big O and Substation, you look back at them so fondly because it perhaps is that they're only one of the few avenues that every month, maybe one Saturday, you get something like that. So it's very, very precious. Right. But now it's like I heard from my friends, right, every weekend probably you find a gig somewhere.
Hmm.
So it only caters to a very niche crowd. So is it more vibrant? I I don't know how to, uh how to explain further. I think it's very different. Yeah.
Mm. It's like what you say lah, intense but sparse.
Wow. Thanks for remembering. Well, that was good. Good one.
Wow. Okay.
The three
Cool.
the
Yeah.
three words I will carry with me to my grave. Changkang's instructions. Just play it
Intense.
intense but sparse.
Yeah. Like television.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but speaking of performing and bands, I mean, you guys will be performing at the gig. What does it feel like to be? I mean, in a sense, maybe is this could probably be the first time you guys TypeWriter is performing under a big old banner, perhaps, right? What are your thoughts about that? How do you feel? What does it feel like to perform?
I'm definitely honored, very honored. The band is very honored and happy to be approached. Right. The next thing is that we are all peeing our pants because we are pretty rusty. Because we have been focusing on uh, fleshing out the EP. We have not been going back to the studio just for rehearsing a band as a band. So we've been working on in front of computers, laying tracks and things like that. So actually starting soon, very soon, we are starting to rehearse. Uh, we need at least 4 to 5 gigs to brush up and do a good show, you know. Um, and I'm also very happy to share the stage with all the old timers, right? And looking forward to hang out and just enjoy the day, enjoy 2 days. Yeah.
Hmm. You know, okay, this is a question that I might be um I, because you've done this before. You've also done like all kinds of film and stuff like that. You've done the genre of this kind of visual arts, music arts, and all that. But but when it comes to the writing part of it, like say music writing, Big O was for me. I don't know about you, Kevin, but for me, Big O was like the only kind of music writing that I
Yeah.
was ever interested in. Would you
Mm.
say that for yourself?
Um, you see, back then, um, to be on Big O, right, is damn fucking special, right? So every month, we always look forward. I, as a fan, right, every month I look forward to seeing who is being featured, who is releasing a new demo tape, right? Maybe Kevin's music or AWOL's music. You always see, what is coming up in the next month. Sugarflies, Padres, Demo, or whatnot lah, or the next Force Vomit release, right? So every month is kind of being if you cut out all these articles, there's a natural progression, there's a history flow, like what discography, of which band came uh, to do what, as the years progress. Uh, to sidetrack a bit, right? A good example of this would be the Plus 65 CD, right? It was done in chronological order, so that was a very good thing, very great thing. If you ask me, that is one thing that Big O did. It kind of like quantify or put together, collate how releases were coming out one after another every month, every year. So we know which band came first. There's a legacy. There's a special legacy, like indie legacy, through that. And it's not like these bands were DIY bands. They're not your pop bands. There was a special. There's a specialness to these bands collectively that got featured in Big O magazine, right? Uh, After when Big O is no more, we don't have a source like that to go to, right? But of course, then came the personal blogs in 2000 onwards. Everybody you can do a search, right? To find out about Astral, right? So a couple of blogs they will be writing about Astral, and you get a sense of what kind of music they do. Some pages might even be doing interviews, blah 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 blah. So you get a broad stroke of it, right? But in the recent years, I think less people are writing full articles, like a blog article where it's a lot more detailed, and you get an insight of this band that you don't know lah, right? It's all very Instagram posts, like a few lines. Then how? In years to come, you don't know this band, no? It's just a sampling,
Yeah,
right? Of
yeah.
course, that said, kudos to Lion City Rock. There's this source, perhaps the only source like that, archiving, right? And then
Yeah.
the other thing I could think about is maybe there are a few more, but I can think of Bandwagon still writing longer articles. But other than that,
Yep.
I think you don't get much of detailed articles from the internet anymore. Especially if you're just a DIY local band, right? It's not the same as let's say 2000 onwards, where different blogs people will be writing different opinions, doing their own reviews of
Yeah.
local music, right? So that collage of opinions help lah. I think it creates that buzz. So now, as I said, there's a lot, but very small. So I don't know. Yeah. I miss that. I miss that. Those longer articles where
Yeah.
I can deep dive into a band that I potentially like, and I want to find out about their influences.
The attention spans have become shorter.
Yeah, then but that something suffers from that. How is that legacy going to be archived?
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Right, so short memory, then your Instagram also not like an article where you could buy the site or whatever. Then you must go.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, speaking about legacy and all that, I mean, you mentioned just now you guys getting into the studio recently. Does this mean that there's new music for TypeWriter?
yeah. So this year we're trying to finish it. This year we're trying to finish up a new EP. It'll be called Golden Mile. So hopefully by the end of the year lah. I mean, they're still going to we are still discussing whether we want to press it into a vinyl, or whether the cost is going to be too much.
Vinyl, vinyl, vinyl.
Vinyl, and I mean, yeah, cost involved lah. So we'll see whether vinyl or just a digital release. But I really hope that we can get something done. Yeah, this year. Yeah.
Okay. And finally, do you have any message for your long-time typewriter fans who are still typewriting away?
Um, you see, TypeWriter is not a gregarious band that has a huge number of fans. So I'm actually very grateful to those fans that are still with us, who still like our music, who still follow us when we are not as prolific. We try our best, we still got our day jobs. So yeah, we are truly grateful. I speak for the band. Yeah, we are very grateful that we still have our fans who like our music.
Okay, okay. Well, if you want to catch typewriter, head on down to the Big O 40 40 years of counterculture event happening at Blackbird. That's at Gilman Barracks 8 Lock Road, Singapore 108936 on the 12th and 13th of April from 12 o'clock onwards, both days. Bands will be just coming on and playing throughout the day until the
Yep.
evening. So go down. You want to get tickets? Head on to the website that they've got for this. It's called the Neon Pulse, TheNeonPulse.com, theneonpulse.com. You can get tickets there. They also have they got merch as well. Not just event merch, but they also have band merch. I can see like, oh, Great Spy Experiment, Obstacle Upset.
T-shirts.
T-shirts. Who doesn't need more t-shirts, right? Right?
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to get one. Uh, but yeah, so head on down to the Neon Pulse to get your tickets there. They're selling out quite fast. I think they're moving quite fast actually. So don't be shy. Come down and say hi lah. Yeah, don't say we never both you, right? So yeah. Thank you once again, Changkang, for taking time out to come on and chat for us, man.
Thanks for
Thank you.
talking, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We'll see you.
Thanks, okay.
We'll see you there at the gig, man. Definitely.